Hello everyone and welcome back to Briarwood. Last time we wrapped up our first night on the island and managed to pay off that initial loan. So as you could see behind me, today we woke up with a house of our very own. But before we get too comfortable, Tom Nook's probably already got a million other tasks lined up for us. I think today the Nook's Cranny quest opens up, so I want to gather resources for that. And I also want to place Blathers' tent today. First things first, it's time to check the mail. We've got a little package from Nook Shopping waiting for us and a DIY recipe from the HHA. It's always nice to start the day with gifts. Now that we officially got home storage, I can finally start cleaning up the chaos around the new house. I've been leaving things scattered everywhere, so it's definitely time to tidy up and actually make this place feel a little more like home. The inside of our house is a little sad right now. Just me, a cot, and a dream, but that's okay. We'll fix it up with time. For now, I'm putting away some of my resources. To build Nook's Cranny, we'll need 30 of each type of wood and 30 iron nuggets, all while working with very limited storage space. So it's time to get organized, or at least pretend to be. I start by hitting rocks with my flimsy axe to gather some materials. It's not the most efficient method, but it gets the job done. I really need a shovel though. Unfortunately, I still haven't unlocked that DIY yet, which is why placing Blathers' tent is officially on the list of things to do today. Scoot over here is an MVP, also giving me my new hat that I immediately put on because I didn't want to hurt his little feelings. It's not the cutest thing, but at least our outfit's becoming a little more fashionable. I then collect a quick 100 Nook miles for my efforts of hitting rocks, and of course immediately go back into hitting more rocks, and break yet another flimsy axe. This one will be the first of many that I break today. To take a break from tool trauma, I wander down the beach to collect some shells, and I spot my first balloon of the day. Inside, a mush log DIY, which is perfect because I'm planning to use the entire mush set on this island. Next, I shake some trees and immediately get my first wasp nest. Luckily, I was ready and managed to catch them before they could sting me, though my poor net didn't survive the victory. On the bright side, I earned some Nook miles for catching bugs and for breaking my tools. Truly a balanced reward system. I head into resident services where I, surprise, overhear Tom and Timmy deep in discussion about opening a shop for the island. Tom turns to me and then hands me a Nook Miles ticket, explaining that I can use it to visit Mystery Islands and gather extra materials, which honestly, I'm going to need that ticket today. After that, I talked to Timmy, who officially asked me to collaborate with him on the shop. Together, we'll need to collect 30 pieces of each type of wood and 30 iron nuggets. And when I say together, I mean just me. I'm going to be the one that has to collect them all. I'm honestly so excited to be building Nook's Cranny, but I'm really going to miss seeing Tommy wandering around the island with his little flag. They should really let the shopkeepers out of their stores sometimes. They deserve some fresh air too. I make my way over to the Nook stop to grab my daily miles and to check what's new in the Nook Miles Plus catalog. It's the first day I've actually had access to it, so I spend a little time scrolling through, and of course I pick up the tool ring upgrade, which I've been trying to use this whole time, by the way. I completely forgot you have to actually unlock it. When you look through the catalog, it says tool ring. It's essential. And yes, it is essential for not losing your mind. With that out of the way, I head over to the workbench to craft some new tools since I've broken more than I can count at this point. Out in the plaza, I run into Scoot, who is just the sweetest. He gives me some iron nuggets to help with the Nook's Cranny build, and honestly, he didn't have to, but I'll take all the help I can get, especially when it comes from someone as sweet as little Scoot. After that, I spend some time chopping more trees, making sure to gather as many materials as I can before heading off island. Every piece of wood and iron really counts when you're trying to get Nook's Cranny built, and I want to make sure to make the most out of what Brierwood has to offer before dipping into that Nook Miles ticket. Once I've stocked up enough, I finally wander over to find a home for Blathers' tent. I wanted him close enough so that it'll be easy for me to donate all of the early things I find, but also far enough to keep it out of the way, to not encroach on whatever designs I can get started. The placement wasn't really too important to me at this point, as I decided that I am going to fully upgrade it and turn it into some abandoned castle or something. Then make our way back towards the plaza for our inaugural group stretching session. This is honestly one of my favorite features in game, and it always feels like such a fun community moment for the island. It's also how I figure out which NPC is visiting the island most of the time later on in game. Sometimes, it's hard to find them when you've got lots of stuff cluttered around all over. But since we're stretching in-game, this is your friendly reminder to take a stretch break too. Go on, roll your shoulders, wiggle your fingers, maybe grab a sip of water. We've earned it after all that tree chopping and rock bonking. Now that we have stretched and hydrated, break time is over, it's time to get back to work. After our stretching session, I run off to hit a few more rocks, and lucky for me, I find my money rock for the day, giving me a much needed bell boost. I then run into Phoebe, who gives me a shovel, which would have been really helpful earlier, Phoebe. I've been out here hitting rocks with my axe, Phoebe. My poor tools deserve better. She also recommended I grab the Pretty Good Tools recipe from the Nook stop, which, to be fair, is solid advice, so I add it to my list before Phoebe decides to scold me again. She's kind of scary, to be honest, you know? I wouldn't want to be on her bad side. She's, you know. Ooh. Along the way, I find my money tree spot and bury my first 1,000 bells. I would have buried more, but your girl is a little broke on bells at the moment. Still, it's a small but satisfying milestone for Brierwood's growing economy. We'll be burying 10,000 bells before you know it. Then, before I forget, and before Phoebe comes looking for me, I head to the Nook stop to grab that Pretty Good Tools recipe. Honestly, I know those tools still break, but they don't break as often, and I am tired of crafting flimsy axes every 5 minutes, you know? But also, I can't waste my iron nuggets right now, so we'll have to wait until after we build Nook's Cranny to start using all those recipes. With that checked off my list, I finally make my way down to the airport for the first time since we arrived, ready to take to the skies and see what the Mystery Islands have waiting for us. Hopefully it's more wood and a lot more iron nuggets, because that's really what I need to be able to finish Nook's Cranny today. And maybe, just maybe, we'll meet a cute villager to invite back to Briarwood. When we head inside the airport, we're greeted by Orville, the friendliest little dodo you'll ever meet. He immediately launches into a full rundown of all things aviation. Wings, weather, and a surprising amount of paperwork for a flight that lasts about 30 seconds, you know? I don't know, whatever. Maybe he really likes paperwork. Maybe it's his thing and I'm being a little too judgmental. Alright, I'm gonna take it down a notch. I let him know I'm ready to use my Nook Miles ticket, and he gets right to work setting everything up. You can tell he takes his job seriously. He's got that mix of professional airline energy and please don't crash my plane energy. He double checks the ticket, stamps all the paperwork, and gives me the full pre-flight speech. And with that, we're cleared for takeoff. I'm really hoping this trip brings back plenty of materials, especially iron. That's really what I'm focused on if I want to get Nook's Cranny done today. Before long, Wilbur is giving me his signature line, catch some bees and chop some trees. And chop trees I shall. I get straight to work gathering whatever resources I can find. Shaking down some fruit to sell to Timmy later, digging up a few coconut trees to bring home and plant along the beaches of Briarwood, and of course, hitting every single rock in sight, silently praying for iron nuggets with each swing. Then it's back to tree chopping, since I'm only a couple of pieces of softwood shy of the 30 I need. I've already got enough hardwood and regular wood, so it's just a matter of patience and a little bit of luck. I then start to head towards the last remaining rock, and that's when I spot something, or rather, someone. Our mystery villager has appeared. And it's Pudge. He's definitely not on my dreamy list, but honestly, he kind of fits the cozy early game vibe we've got going on. So I debated for a minute, but I just couldn't let him go. Not when the risk of getting someone like barreled was on the table. So I went ahead and invited him back to the island, knowing that once he calls Tom, Mr. Nook will kick off the next big project, building furniture for and placing 3 new housing plots. I'm planning to save my Nook miles, so I'm just gonna let the other 2 plots autofill for now. I'm just happy I managed to bring at least one cutie home. What about you guys? Do you prefer to villager hunt for your starters or let them autofill and see what fate sends your way? Let me know in the comments down below. After chatting with Pudge, I squeezed past him to get to the island's last remaining rock, still holding out hope that I'll get the final few iron nuggets that I need. Unfortunately, fate had other plans. I get a couple nuggets, but not enough to finish the Nook's Cranny's materials. My dreams of completing the shop today are officially shattered. With my pockets full of resources, just not the right ones, I make my way back to the dock to meet up with Wilbur. I let him know that I'm ready to head home, a little disappointed, but still proud of everything we managed to gather today. There's always tomorrow for more iron and probably another broken axe or 2. Once I'm back on the island, I get right to work to planting the palm trees I dug up on the Mystery Island. I haven't upgraded my pocket space yet, so I could only bring back a couple, but I made sure to grab ones that still had coconuts on them. That way, I could shake them later and plant even more along the beach. A little forward planning never hurts. While I'm planting, I spot a balloon floating by and I shoot it down. It drops a heart apron, which I immediately throw on because it's way too cute not to, and I've been needing an outfit upgrade. With my new apron equipped and the last palm tree in the ground, I collect my Nook miles for planting them. I make my way back to resident services to drop off all the wood I've collected for Timmy, one step closer to getting that shop built. After that, I stop by the workbench to craft a full-length mirror because even on a small island, self-care matters. Then it's off to the Nook stop, where I cave just a little and buy the new hair colors. I know I said I was saving my Nook miles for future projects, but if I can't finish building the store today, I should at least be able to get my signature pink hair back. Priorities, right? With my impulsive purchase complete, I head home and place the hand cart Timmy gave me outside my house, adding a tiny touch of life to the yard. Inside, I roll out my new flooring and set down my mirror, a small but cozy reminder that Brierwood is slowly starting to feel like home. Once I get my new mirror in the perfect place, well, perfect at least for now, it's time for a little makeover. I get to work on changing my appearance. First order of business, bringing back my signature pink hair. It just doesn't feel like me without it. And now that the color's unlocked, there is no going back. I play around with a few hairstyles before settling on a new haircut too. Something fresh for this new chapter in Briarwood. I make my way over to my little cot, ready to get some sleep before time traveling to the next day. It's been a long day of chopping trees, hunting for iron, and doing just about everything except building that shop. But we will get it done tomorrow. As we open up on the next day, we're greeted by Tom Nook's morning announcements. He lets us know that Blathers has officially arrived on the island, which means it's finally time to move all those poor fish and bugs off the beach and into proper museum storage. I can't tell you how happy that makes me. I'm so excited to declutter the beach a little bit and make some extra bells by selling our duplicates. With the announcements all wrapped up, I check my mailbox and find a surprise delivery, an old sewing machine, which I immediately rush inside to place right under the window. It looks so cute there. With Blathers all settled in, I grab my trusty axe and start hitting rocks again, hoping today's the day I finally get those last few iron nuggets that I need. And unbelievably, I get them all from my very first rock. I don't waste a single second. I grab those nuggets and run straight to resident services, ready to finally hand everything over to Timmy. I hand over the 30 iron nuggets to Timmy and he is thrilled. He immediately asks me if I could find the perfect spot for their new shop, and of course I agree. He hands me the shop tent, officially trusting me with one of Briarwood's biggest upgrades yet. And I of course am up for the task. Before placing the shop tent, I make a quick trip down to my house to grab all the bugs I've been storing on the beach. Since Blathers' tent is on the same side of the island where I plan to build the shop, I figure I might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone, drop off the donations, and scope out the perfect spot for Nook's Cranny. When we stop by Blathers' tent, he is so excited to finally be here and immediately starts telling us all about his research. To help us out, to help us help him out, I guess, he sends us over 2 DIY recipes. One for the vaulting pole so we can cross the rivers, and one for the shovel to dig up those fossils he's so eager to study. And honestly, I love that Blathers rewards us for helping him, unlike a certain Tanuki we know. I get right to work on donations, starting with a damselfly, a pillbug, and a common butterfly. As always, Blathers does his best to be polite, but you can feel the disgust every time I hand him a bug. We'll bond over fossils later, Blathers. I promise. After handing over every bug I can, I head down to the beach to place Nook's Cranny. It takes me a second to find the right spot for Nook's Cranny because, of course, I already started planting palm trees in the area and I really don't want to destroy the one I just planted. After a bit of wiggling the placement marker around, I finally figure it out and place the tent down. Seeing that future home of Nook's Cranny sign pop up is such a good feeling. Brierwood's first real shop is officially on the way. I notice my villagers hanging around in the area where I just placed Nook's Cranny, and of course I have to say hello to little baby Scoot and my best friend Phoebe. I wish I could slow down Phoebe. Anyway, here's some Scoot appreciation. Enjoy it, he's so cute. I grab my axe and head out to chop some trees, partially to earn a few Nook miles, and partially to rebuild my resource stash since Timmy and Tommy completely cleaned me out for the shop build. It feels good to stock up again. A little wood here, a few branches there, just getting my supplies back in order, one cozy chop at a time. With my tree chopping done for now, I make my way back home to gather up the rest of the bugs I've been storing on the beach. It's finally time to bring them to Blathers where they belong. I make my way back to the tent to start the grind of donating those bugs one at a time. I cannot wait for the day I don't have to donate things one at a time. It's such a process, but at least we're making progress. This time around, I hand over a rice grasshopper, a centipede, and a bagworm. 3 fewer bugs on my beach, and 3 new additions for Blathers' collection. With those done, I've only got 9 more items to donate before the museum construction can begin. We're getting so close to having a real home for all these critters. Before heading back home to gather up all my fish, I stop at resident services to craft a vaulting pole, and then rush on down to my little section of beach to pick up the fish I have sitting there. My character is really getting a workout today with all the back and forth she's been doing. Between chopping trees, running donations to Blathers, and hauling supplies all over the island, she doesn't even need a treadmill. Who needs a gym when you've got Tom Nook's endless task list? Finally back at Blathers' tent, I start handing over the fish I gathered earlier. First up is the ever-present sea bass, because of course it is, followed by a much prettier zebra turkey fish. Blathers, as always, is very polite about accepting them, even if he's secretly wishing they were fossils instead. With those 2 donations done, that leaves us with only 7 more to go before we can finally start construction on the museum. We're getting so close, and I'm itching to use that vaulting pole. Speaking of vaulting poles, I run down to the river mouth, line myself up, and chuck myself right over to the other side. I know it's supposed to be just a simple way to cross rivers, but there's something so fun about it. It's the simple things, you know? I pull out my trusty shovel and start digging up fossils. There's always that little spark of excitement, and with it being this early in game, we don't have to worry about if it's our fifth copy of the same fossil. We know that it's pure progress, that Blathers will take whatever we dig up today. As I move inland, I start collecting fruit from the untouched trees in this part of the island. Since I couldn't reach these areas before unlocking the vaulting pole, the fruit trees are overflowing, and it feels so satisfying to finally gather everything that's been waiting for me. I also take a moment to harvest branches and weeds, restocking on essentials that I'll need for crafting later. It's nice, slow-paced, simple, but productive. And honestly, I'm just really enjoying vaulting back and forth across the river, partially to reach new trees and partially because it's just so fun. There's something about that tiny leap that makes the island feel bigger, like every new vault is one step closer to truly exploring all of Briarwood. What I've been up to today might not feel like a huge step forward, but it's been nice to have one of those cozy days that just remind you of why this game is so special. I keep vaulting around the island, checking every little patch of land I can reach, mostly because I don't trust myself not to have missed something. After a few more hops back and forth, I finally come across what I think is the last accessible fossil on the island. I dig it up feeling pretty accomplished, until I remember that I still don't have a ladder, which means all those tempting little fossil spots up on the cliffs will have to wait. One day we'll reach the upper levels, but for now it's just me, my shovel, and the ground floor of Briarwood. We find ourselves back at Blathers' tent, fossils in hand, and he's absolutely thrilled, which honestly is a nice change from how he reacts to bugs. I hand him the first batch, and he carefully assesses each one, rambling happily about ancient creatures and preservation. It's actually kind of sweet seeing him so in his element. Once he's done, I donate everything right away. No hesitation this time. Every fossil gets us one step closer to the big upgrade. With those new additions, we're now only 2 donations shy of starting museum construction. It feels like Briarwood's really starting to take shape, the kind of cozy progress that makes all the running back and forth today completely worth it. After saying goodbye to Phoebe, I make a quick stop at the resident services, where Timmy lets me know that Nook's Cranny will officially be finished tomorrow. Hearing that honestly makes all the resource grinding over the past couple days totally worth it. Since I'm already here, I decide to sell him all the fruit I collected while I was out fossil hunting. A nice little payday to end the afternoon. The sale nets me a few extra Nook miles, which is always a bonus, and I take that as my cue to stop by the Nook stop to deposit my bells. Gotta start saving for whatever Tom Nook has planned next, because let's be honest, it's always something. With the shop on the way and my bank account looking a little healthier, Briarwood's future is starting to feel bright, or, well, at least well-funded. I make my way down to the beach to start digging up some manila clams, since that's the only way to unlock the recipe for fish bait. And I'm determined to catch 2 new fish for Blathers today. While I'm digging, I notice a little fish shadow swimming just offshore. So I toss out my line, and somehow I catch it. It's a seahorse, which is a new fish, so 1 fish down, 1 more to go. Feeling lucky, I head a bit further down the beach where I spot another shadow. I cast my line, and it's another seahorse. Not exactly what I needed, and to make it worse, it breaks my fishing rod. I then make a quick detour over to the dock since I actually haven't seen it yet, and I thought it would be nice to check out the view. With that, I vault my way back over to the other side of the island and make my way back to Blathers to donate my seahorse, where he reminds me that we just need 1 more donation. I know, Blathers, I know, stop rubbing it in my face. I'm working on it. Give me a minute. I will get that fish for you today, I promise. Now, even more determined than ever to catch that last fish, I shake the very first tree I see to grab a few sticks for crafting a new fishing rod. With supplies in hand, I head straight to resident services to craft both the bait and a brand new rod, because if Blathers needs one more fish, I am getting him one more fish. I wander over to a pond and spot Phoebe fishing there too, so I decide to kindly borrow her fishing spot, cast my line, and success! It's a new fish. Finally, the last donation we need for the museum. Sorry, Phoebe, I promise I'll let you have the next one. With that last catch, not only do we finish our donations for Blathers, but we snag a few Nook miles along the way. We earn some for catching 10 different kinds of fish, and a few extra for 10 successful catches in a row, which honestly feels like a personal achievement. It's the perfect little cherry on top of our fishing grind, some cozy progress, and a nice boost to the little mileage balance. I hurry straight to Blathers' tent with that final donation in hand. No time to waste when we're this close to museum construction. When I hand it over, he tells me he never expected to complete his collection on his first day on the island. And honestly, fair. But come on, Blathers, I'm an overachiever. I thought you understood me by now. With everything turned in, he's officially ready to begin museum construction. Brierwood is leveling up, and I am absolutely taking all the credit, because I did do all the fishing and the digging. I did. But, he did say thank you, so, Tom, maybe you should take some notes and say thank you every once in a while. Just a thought, just putting it out there. I then run over to my little flower spot and do some watering to finish off the day, because watering flowers is kind of relaxing, and I need to get on my hybrid game. I need some purple mums and some green mums, so we gotta water them for that. I make my way back home, ready to finally call it a night. I head inside, hop onto my cot, and end the day. My little reward after all that running, fishing, and fossil hunting. But I can't end this episode without showing you the finished shop, so it's time to hop forward to the next day and see all that hard work pay off. We start the next day the way we always do, with Tom Nook's morning announcements. First up, he lets us know that we're officially moving forward with museum construction. He lets us know that he and Blathers never thought that they'd be doing it on just his first day there. He says the museum should be finished by tomorrow, which means we're just one day away from a proper home for all those critters and fossils we've been hoarding. He even shares a little message from Blathers thanking us all for the help, which is very nice. It's very sweet. But that's not all, because Tom also announces that Nook's Cranny is officially open for business. He says he's proud of Timmy and Tommy for all their hard work, and even more exciting, he tells us that the catalog shopping is now available, which is very dangerous information to give me, honestly. I mean, we haven't cataloged much on this island yet, but that doesn't mean I can't go to my other island on my other Switch and catalog my little heart out. Tom also mentions that we can hold a ceremony to celebrate the shop's grand opening, and you bet your butts we're holding that ceremony. I worked way too hard not to. But before he can wrap up his broadcast, Tom's phone rings, and from what we can hear of the conversation, it sounds like it's our sweet baby Pudge calling to make arrangements for his big move to Briarwood. Things are really starting to come together. Shops, museums, new neighbors. Briarwood is growing fast, and I'm so here for it. After the announcements, I check my mail and find a letter from Daisy May letting me know she'll be visiting on Sunday to sell turnips. It's my reminder that the stock market is officially opening up, which means it's almost time for me to make some questionable financial decisions. On my way through the island, I pick up a few mushrooms and dig up a couple more fossils. It's like they just appear overnight, like magic, or like the game is programmed to do that. I don't know. As I make my way back towards resident services, I spot Saharah wandering the plaza. I rush over to introduce myself, but realize pretty quickly that I don't have nearly enough bells to buy anything from her yet, because I have 0 bells in my pocket. 0. You see it up there in the corner? 0. So now I just wave and try not to think about all the cool rugs and wallpapers I'm missing out on. When I step inside resident services, Tom Nook is, surprise, surprise, still on the phone. When he finishes up, he lets me know that he has 3 interested parties in the island getaway package, which sounds great until he mentions the catch. Apparently, these new residents are too good to live in tents, so Tom has promised to fully build them homes. Complete with furniture, we'll have to gather materials and craft ourselves. Classic Tom, always volunteering us for more work. We'll be tackling that in the next episode of the series, though, so for now, I ask about holding a ceremony to celebrate the opening of Nook's Cranny. After all that effort gathering wood, iron, and miles, it's time we celebrate what we built, one cozy little shop at a time. We make our way over to Nook's Cranny for the grand opening ceremony, and it's honestly such a sweet little moment. Tom says a few words, congratulating everyone. I say a few words too. And then, of course, we all pop our party poppers, filling the air with confetti and cheers. It's such a cozy, wholesome way to celebrate everything we've accomplished together so far. From chopping trees and catching bugs to finally opening our first real shop. And with that, this is where we'll wrap up today's episode. Thank you so much for coming along on this part of Brierwood's journey with me. It means the world that you're here building this little island right alongside me. I hope to see you all in the next episode where we'll be working on housing for our new neighbors and continuing to grow Briarwood into the cozy island of our dreams. Thanks again for watching, and remember, stay curious, stay gaming.